Backseat Drivers time. Good evening and welcome to Backseat Drivers number 16 for 2023. This week we, I find out who Flavor Flav is because that was something new over the weekend for me. Max and Pillow go on domination streaks, and George Russell's tears cause rain in Spain. To talk about those topics and many more, we've got DJ Matt.
I should have brought my giant clock to put around my neck, just as a Flavor Flav joke that you wouldn't have understood.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have got the reference. But someone who probably would have got that reference is Rob.
Hi.
Jeez.
We're
Turn it up.
Rob had the gap in.
I try to make sure that the mic's far away from me when I do that.
Yeah, it may scare viewers or people like me.
Yes.
Old men with earphones in.
Old men with queefs. Queefs? Is that what that is?
I have no idea. I just thought it looked cool. And trying to fit in with the Flavor Flav.
Young, cool demographic.
Yeah, the hip rappers of the world. Would this Flavor Flav is an old school rapper or something?
Yeah,
from what I understand. Would
Public Enemy?
Would that appeal to the younger demographic, or does that appeal to people like you and me?
I think he's cool now. Like, he's cool. He had a TV show in the early 2000s.
He's had quite a few TV shows, mainly about him getting off.
Wasn't
he also on one about getting off drugs?
Oh, look, he's probably been on so many drugs that he's probably had spin-offs.
Didn't seem like it worked.
I think it at times.
Okay. So it's a bit like me and chocolate.
Yeah. I'm not even like that, Dave, because I don't even kid myself. Just chocolate for life.
Wow. Chocolate and corn chips. It's the way of the future.
Or corn chips, or chocolate-covered corn chips.
Oh, corn chips. I used to get chocolate-covered pretzels. They were pretty tasty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
And I think for a little while there was a limited edition run of chocolate-covered potato chips from Lay's or something, which I want to try.
So tonight on Backseat Eaters, we're going to discuss
Yeah.
Speaking of dinner.
Still haven't had it.
Who else quickly had dinner before this?
Not me. I was just about to order some when I realised that we had to do a stream.
I
started playing Diablo 4. It was on for the night.
And here we are. So we've confused Max about Flavor Flav.
Yep.
That's. I mean, as long as someone's confused early on and it wasn't my fault, partly.
Yeah. It was probably more me. He was a guest at the IndyCar over the weekend of Slick Willie P. And he was on the telecast a hell of a lot. And I asked the question who he was because I didn't understand the reference. I figured it was some kind of rapper or something, but
it was either great Public Enemy from.
Yeah. You reckon he missed out on an invite to Monaco and he's like, Indy's the next best thing?
Maybe he doesn't understand.
He may have
He
thought
might
he
have
was
thought.
Yeah. He probably thought small cars, single seater. This is probably F1. Don't say anything because you look stupid, but I'm probably there.
Apparently, he was a big fan of the racing. So he got the memo that some of the other retards that have been at Formula One events seem to have missed. You've been invited here. DJ Khaled. Still not really sure what he does other than turn up at events.
He does.
Speaking of DJ Khaled news, he was in Miami today. So He was doing DJ Khaled things.
Still hanging around from the Grand Prix.
But basically, he's got Gatorade shoes that he's been wearing. So I think made Gatorade shoes. He wore them at an event.
Has Matt got some Gatorade shoes on order?
I wish I had Gatorade. I wish I had DJ Khaled money where I could order Gatorade shoes. I'll be giving them for free.
So are these shoes like they're obviously not made out of Gatorade?
No.
Are they like made out of Gatorade bottles, or they just got Gatorade written on them or something?
From what I understand, and again, I'm going off DJ Khaled's Instagram account. They are green. He wears them, and he wrote, "I love at Gatorade shoes so very much." So you interpret that how you will. I'm
Gatorade.
assuming he's just been given some shoes, and he is a licensed ad shillman who just goes around telling us things.
So they're just they're Jordans.
Yep. Like all shoes are now Jordans, Rob.
Yeah, pretty much. Jordans. Be like Mike Gatorade. Okay.
So they are real shoes.
Remember that ad? Okay.
Yeah. You remember
Okay.
Mike? Only one of 20 pairs made.
This is why I couldn't afford them, Rob. I don't have.
Yeah, no.
Could you make count? What about off AliExpress?
Ooh, that I probably do. I can maybe get them.
Yeah,
they blow up right away.
Could we get some Gatorade Jordans?
There we go. $2,000 so far for a pair. $2,000.
That's
US size 12.
That's nearly Matt's budget.
That's my shoe size too.
Yeah.
See, if I buy them, I'm going to wear them everywhere. I can't buy shoes and put them away just to look at them.
Rob, if you buy them and wear them on this show, you can use them as a tax write-off.
True.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works.
I'll put some pieces of steel in the ends of them and wear them at work.
Work-related.
Perfect
shoes.
idea.
Yeah.
Then they're actually tax deductible.
Yeah.
If I wear normal shoes to my work in an office, can I claim them as tax? You used to be an accountant many years ago, Dave.
No, I wasn't a tax accountant, but no.
No. I've tried all this.
Yeah.
I keep taking all this kind of all this stuff into my accountant, and he's like, no.
Work specific safety equipment.
So this week on Backseat Eaters, we also include tax fraud.
Well, I do have a nice 49-inch widescreen that's going on tax, because it gets used for work purposes quite often.
Yeah, you definitely need that working from home.
Yes. I actually probably use it more for work than I do for anything else.
Rob, we're not the ATO. You don't need to make up stories in front of us. Hey, everybody, I'm just on my work laptop.
Speaking of our favourite ATO fraudsters, big shout out to Cafe Julia, who provided me with a free coffee this morning. If you are in Doncaster, pop in there and say hi to Farhad. Tell him Dave sent you, and he'll give you a special price on a coffee.
Yeah, it's for full price.
Probably charge you double.
Is this a new sponsor? Is it?
No, I just got a free coffee, and he complained that I didn't pay, and I said, "But I bring people in, like my presence."
He's your
presence. I said, "I'll give you a shout out on the live stream tonight." And he didn't think that was worth anything.
Sounds like he doesn't understand the value of the live stream.
Yeah,
exactly. So, do we actually talk about racing, or do we continue?
I heard a rumor, Dave.
Yeah,
there was that not only was there an Indy race, but there was an F1 race on the weekend.
Yes,
and essentially uneventful.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Formula One race, because it was good for Spain. in my opinion. What I found,
race goes, it was pretty stock standard.
Yeah. What I don't get at the moment, like, because I did watch I got up early on Monday morning, watched the IndyCar race essentially live, and then straight into the F1 race. And the first thing was that the F1 field, to me, looked tiny compared to the IndyCar field, because they were on such a compact track, 27 cars. It looked like a lot was happening, whereas the F1 field, it looked like there was about 10 cars there, and a little bit disappointing on the takeoff. But with the F1, there was a lot happening all the time, like people going in and out of the pits, DRS passes, blah, blah, blah. But when you look at the end of the race, you're like, oh, other than Checo kind of qualifying bad and making his way to a somewhat position where he should be, I think it was Yuki got a penalty because he overtook Zhou off the track, and
that's probably about the only controversial part of the whole race was that penalty.
Yeah, and that George made up a lot of time on the first lap doing the same thing. But because it was the first lap, all fine. And the rain on the inside of his visor.
Yeah.
No, only corner 5 first.
Yeah.
First, it was just here, just in this little section here. I feel
was he looking over at the track map on his heads-up display in this car, and that's where some sweat was. It was just sitting on corner 5.
I feel like a lot of the times the drivers will, especially George, Yuki's the best at it, where they will talk first and then deal with it later. Yuki's essentially open his mouth, tell his engineer to fuck off, and then he'll be like, oh, thank you for this. Like, I think his default response is, get fucked, you're ruining my race. He could be winning, but he would still get angry.
Yes.
George's is always something that you expect from like a 12-year-old, like crikey, or, oh, I think it's raining, or, you know, my tummy doesn't feel good. Milk was a bad choice. And then even Max just seems to sound fairly grumpy at this point too, especially if you tell him that he's winning, but he doesn't have the fastest lap, and maybe just calm down. I want to see him blow up his engine trying to do a fastest lap. I want to hear Horner say, just finish the race. There's 10 laps to go. Who's got the fastest lap? It's Checo. Well, can't have that. And he just plows it into a fence. I would love to see just some hilarious retribution where even Horner just over the mic, just like, I'm not going to say it, but, you know, that's why I'm the team principal. And then Max can just have that silent moment of regret as Alonso steals victory. And they're all dressed in green.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
Everyone there was in green and red hats. Green for Alonso and red hats for Carlos.
Yeah. The funny thing was, Carlos actually had a better day than Fernando this time around.
Yeah. It did show the cars that had a lot of deg. Like, they just dropped off so quickly. Like McLaren, like Stroll. Like, he was in a good spot.
I don't think McLaren dropped off the pace. I think McLaren was just being McLaren. You give it
they're just off the pace.
You give it the impression that McLaren were good, and then all of a sudden they're not good this week.
But that's what happened with Piastri. He was running top 10 and just dropped off because their tyre deg was just more than everyone else's.
But Lando actually, he was like third or something on the grid, wasn't he?
Yeah, Hamilton took out his front wing, but then he just couldn't make up any places in the race.
Yeah. So just on that as well, James Key is going to Audi.
Yes.
Or Sauber.
Saudi.
So that'll be an interesting one. The man who was doing a fairly good job at Toro Rosso, and goes to McLaren, and there's been a stumbling block.
Yeah.
There.
I'm really interested to see how Audi go because they're keen to pretty much come out all guns firing, but so Toyota.
Yeah,
Start seeing more people steal Red Bull personnel now.
Yeah,
I think the hard thing with like that Audi is that because they're basing it still in Switzerland, is getting people there.
Yeah,
which has always been the issue for Sauber.
He's $100,000, moving.
Well, because of the cost cap now, you can't. Yeah.
Oh, Dave, I know I know what other sporting codes have done where they're like, Dave, you join our team, I'll pay you $100K. Now I know you're worth $500K, but I'm also going to put you as an ambassador to my, I don't know, cardboard company, and you will go to events for me saying, look, everybody, it's Dave the Cardboard King. Also, I'm paying you $400K for this, but that's over here, separate to the F1 money, so everyone's happy. Also, don't look into this, please.
I'm just imagining a Hinwil Audi dealer with about 400 employees' wives on the books. that mysteriously doesn't sell many cars each year.
The Volkswagen Audi group aren't known for any.
They've done nothing.
Playing in the grey area, they're fine.
Yeah. No, they're fine. They're all above board all the time. Never done anything shady.
VW are one of those most honest companies that have never done anything wrong.
Just don't put any of the employees on a dyno, and we'll be fine.
I was going to say, Rob, they would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those pesky kids, uni students, who decided to do a basic check.
Yes. Poor Audi. I hope they do okay. I just want everyone to do as good as each other.
I want everyone to win.
No, yeah, exactly. I want everyone to have a chance of winning. Yeah.
Well,
except for Lewis.
Primary school teacher previously.
Yeah.
You sound like who won the race, Rob? It doesn't matter. Friendship won.
Exactly.
And this is why he's a Latifi fan.
Yes.
Hey, Dave. Just imagine this for me, right? It's Abu Dhabi 2021, and instead of putting out a safety car, Rob gets over the microphone. Everyone, we're deploying the friendship car. I want everyone to go. I want a flying V of friendship as we cross the line all together.
They should have kept Latifi. At least he could actually get a point, unlike Sergeant Backmarker.
Well, he's gone, isn't he? Him and DeVries are going to have chats in the bar, going, "Remember when we were F1 drivers?"
Yeah. Well, whoever wins F2 this year has probably got a good chance of getting a seat next year.
Oh, if you come second, you'll probably get a good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 presets now, isn't there?
Yeah, at least 2.
3.
You reckon DeVries can go back to Formula E?
Yeah.
And tell all his friends about his time at Formula One?
I don't. Does this just say that Formula E competition is just not that good, or the car's just much easier to drive, or?
I watched it on the weekend, Rob.
Yeah.
And it's very strange.
Can you tell me what actually happened to Tictum for him to have his little hissy fit at the end of the race?
So basically, when I was watching it, because it's all battery related, and you get your power boost and stuff, they basically run it into the ground. A lot of them will cross the finish line at 0.01 or 0.1. And I think you've just got to plan for it correctly. Yeah. Whereas I think in Formula One, Dave, you'll probably know this, you've got enough fuel to at least, do a donut or something. But it looks like they are running this on the skin of their teeth. And if you time it badly, or I think if you use too much of that super boosty stuff and pick up more boosties, you will drain your batteries and then give us hilarious radio chatter that's second only to Yuki yelling at his racing engineer trying to kill him. Yeah. Or kill his race or kill his brakes.
I did actually hear that the fan boost that they had in Formula E, no one ever used it because it used too much of the battery power.
They have
So,
they have the speed areas, which basically are the golden arrows on Super Mario Kart.
yeah.
And then but they're always wide. Like they're never in a good spot.
Yeah.
You've really got to decide to use them.
It's silly. I find that so stupid, that whole boost
Competition.
thing.
It's weird,
Yeah.
Rob.
They should just have a push the pass button and get rid of that whole thing.
You know what you do, Rob? Imagine it's just a bunch of kids with remote control cars. And imagine those little cars are just little tiny remote control cars. It's much more fun. Because as soon as they get out, it ruins it. But it's it's very strange.
Yeah.
I think that's some of the idea, though, that it's a bit more video gamey for the younger audience.
Yeah. Who's the third person you reckon's out of Formula One next season? So Sargent.
Perez. Didn't we all decide it was Perez? Dave told me. Dave's been telling me for months that it's Perez.
His contract's still for another year, isn't it?
I don't
know. Doesn't matter.
Who are they going to get?
Lewis's contract's at the end of this year, Rob. Maybe
maybe Perez can go there.
Maybe we bring back Latifi.
Who are they going to get to replace him? Maybe they could get Hamilton at Red Bull.
Maybe.
How good would that be? How good would that be? Him and Max door to door.
That would be the greatest thing ever, having Max and Lewis just fight each other.
At least that would be interesting.
Do you think that the egos would allow it?
Nope.
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 And that'd be great, though.
Because you'd have to, I mean, Lewis is not looking outstanding against George.
Nope.
And coming into Max's team, where he is very much on top of his game.
Yeah.
So Lewis isn't going to take that chance because chances are he's probably going to get beaten, and Max would probably put a stop to it just in case.
I reckon
Lewis would join the Red Bull team on the off chance that he thought he could get number 8, or as some people say, number 9. And
not if you speak to Felipe
or number 6.
Yeah.
Someone else.
I reckon Red Bulls should be allowed to have AlphaTauri as identical cars as the Red Bulls. So at least then we could have the opportunity of having 4 cars fighting 4 minutes up front together.
That would be more interesting.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, you've got to remember everyone says how good Perez is.
Yeah. Really?
And there isn't a battle.
I never thought Perez was ever that great.
Chances are, even if you've got Sonoda and that other bloke who's getting the arse, in Red Bull cars, they're probably still finishing behind the Mercedes like Perez is.
Yeah. So like they replace one of them with Dan.
Well, everyone will have a Red Bull car soon when they copy the underneath the car.
Yeah.
Now that Perez has let everyone have a look at upskirt Red Bull.
Well, there was the theory that they put a different floor on his car and asked him to put it into a wall. Gave him a few little extra bucks to say, "Here you go, just bin this one," so people don't copy us with the right car.
I mean, that would be amazing if they did that.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to some podcasts and they were talking about back when was it the Lotus with the side skirts, the 92, 98?
Oh, the ones that
78.
78. And all the other teams knew something was going on, so they would hide the side skirts and they'd have someone walking around with what looked like a differential underneath a towel or a sheet or something, and get the same guy just to kind of move it in and out from where the car was. And what it was just like a big teapot underneath the cloth, and everyone just thought they had some trick diff in the car.
It's like, I think it was Red Bull a few years ago, what they were doing with the front wing, but they were getting all the mechanics to stand at the back of the car
Yeah.
When it was on the grid. So you'd have like 5 mechanics stood around the back of each car, and everyone's like focused on the back of like, oh, they're trying to hide something.
Yeah.
It's like, no, what we're trying to hide is at the front of the car, dickheads. But we'll just make you like all look at the back of the car. Yeah. I'm sure there's been many other stories like that over the years.
Out of curiosity, Dave, why did they have to lift the car out from Monaco? Is it just because it's a tiny, tiny track and they couldn't wheel around?
Yeah, there isn't the room, say, for the tractors to come in and out and then park the cars.
There's no parking area.
Like,
Oh, they've
so
got
crane them up and
Where else do you get flying cars?
Also, Dave, if you're Perez and you've now let people see under your car, you've sort of stuffed up two races now, basically?
Yeah.
I mean, stuffing up 2 races is probably not the worst thing because you've got a massive lead. But now you're giving away, unintentionally giving away your... I'd say under the car would probably be Newey's safest thing, where he's probably like, I can do it like no one's ever going to see this.
Yeah.
Apart from, I don't know, Mark Webbering it and doing a backflip down straight, no one was ever going to see that. Like, there was no chance that like Inspector Seb could have come over and just gone, oh, what's under here?
It was highly unlikely.
Yeah, I'd imagine you'd have a talking to of just how not clever that was to the team. Because I've heard Horner saying that if anyone does copy it, they won't be ready till Japan.
Yeah.
But they're also saying by then Red Bull's probably changed something already.
Yeah, but then you can get a fair idea on the design philosophy in that. And you can already see like where Mercedes have made their changes to reflect more the Red Bull setup, like with front suspension and that, as far as they could with the current chassis. So now they've got a blueprint kind of what the floor looks like. You've got all the outer surfaces. Obviously, you don't know what's going on inside the side pods and stuff like that. But, yeah, you'd have a bit of an idea of what they're doing with the shapes of the side pods and things. So, yeah, you can start copying away as much as possible.
And if you were a garbage team that had a lot of wind tunnel time, you could spend... Could you spend time now in the wind tunnel?
Yeah, see, the issue is, though, like, say, for Haas, because they use so many Ferrari parts, they're kind of locked into what Ferrari does, say, suspension-wise and that. So, especially on the rear end. So, Ferrari kind of dictates the path they go down.
But I imagine if you're Mercedes or Ferrari, you could be looking at that. Like I said to you guys, Toto would be laughing and grinning like an idiot because this happened. Even if they don't use it, I think he would just be happy because the next time he has a chat with Mr. Ginger Spice.
But then on the flip side as well, because the Mercedes was lifted up too, so then like Red Bull and that would have had a good look at that to, I suppose, then look at what they've done and, hey, that's probably where they're going wrong, or that's not a bad idea. We'll give that a bit in the wind tunnel.
Let's be honest. Most of the attention would have been on the Red Bull car that dominates.
100%, yeah.
By 8,000 laps in 4 days, whereas the other one not so much.
Sometimes, like you learn more from your mistakes than your successes. So,
Dave, if that was the case, Latifi would be the smartest man on earth. So, I don't fully believe you.
Hey, the man was born into a billionaire family, and he got to race Formula One.
He's clearly done something right.
Yeah, he's like. I mean, we're wearing hats backwards and pulling our hair out the front.
You are.
I couldn't. My hat won't let me.
Yeah, you got a defective hat. Yeah, his life's not too bad. Like, Yeah.
Do you reckon him and Stroll have a little chat group of just Canadian billionaire sons? I feel like they have a WhatsApp group where they just chat. And Latifi asks Lance, like, what are you doing today? How was the race? What did you do?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you crash into anyone?
Hey, is Alonso as really nice as they say in person? He goes, he invites me out to dinner. I don't get it. Like, he's chatting to my dad just before he goes out, and he looks like he gets angry at him. And
They do special handshake.
Yeah. Yeah, he hands him the company credit card and goes, take him out to dinner. And you can tell someone like Dan's there, like, Alonso, we're going out to this party. No, I can't. I've got to hang out with my little brother. I mean, Lance, I've got to hang out with Lance.
Can I bring Lance? Not him again.
Lance probably Alonso. Dad told we can't go to a nightclub too late because we got aero training tomorrow. Just don't tell him. No, he said not. You can't hang out with Dan. He's a bad influence. He'll get you those little remote controlled motorboats and try driving them around the water again. Did you hear he pushed Yuki into the water? He's not a good influence on you. I look forward to the my favorite couple of Alonso, the perfect strangers. Alonso, Lance, and Dad.
Yeah. It hasn't imploded yet.
No.
So
I don't think it'll implode. I think his dad's just gonna, at the end of the season, come to the realization that if he's really got this, 5-year journey, his son can't be a part of the journey.
Yeah, you do wonder how long they will persist with that when, like, you can really start to see it this year that there is performance on the table, we'll say. Because it's not like Ocon was a lot closer.
Do you reckon they'll get, if they
Stroll was in front of him,
they'll replace him with an existing F1 driver, or they'll just pick another one from the... Do they have a feeder team?
No, but they did sign Dragovic, who was the F2 champion last year, as like their their Dan Ricciardo.
Yeah.
Although they did actually call him test and reserve driver, I think. But they can run him in the can run him in the junior sessions or whatever, where you have to run like a rookie or whatever.
Didn't someone get a drive last weekend as a test? I can't think who it was now.
In Spain or in Monaco?
In Spain. I'm sure I mentioned someone who was getting a drive.
Did someone get an FP1?
Yeah.
Because you do have to run a young driver in so many, I think it's 2 free practice 1 sessions.
Rob, Brad Pitt's getting a rookie drive in a couple of weeks.
I'm looking forward to that so much.
So what are they actually driving the cars around in a session, or?
I've heard he's driving around and they're putting fake cars around him to make it look realistic. So he won't be driving an F1 car, but they're putting him in like an F2 or 3, and they're going to dress it up as a...
To make it look like an F1 car.
Yeah, make it look like an F1. And I think they're going to have... I don't know if I heard that they'll have F1 drivers driving around him and sort of make it look... like wrestling. They'll make it look like he's wrestling, but,
Well, you could, like, say for Rush, they actually got some of the old cars and they built some replicas of, like, I think the McLaren and that, the McLaren and the Ferrari, like the main...
Yeah.
Kind of 2 protagonists. They built replicas of those. And they had them driving around together. Couldn't you get like a handful of F2 cars or whatever, dress them up to look like Formula 1 cars?
I think that's what they're doing.
And actually have them on the track at the same time without having to CGI it.
I think they're going to aim... What's it meant to be about, by the way? All I know is it's Brad Pitt driving a car.
That's probably about all of it, really, I reckon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably not much plot.
what was the plot to Driven?
Because
when I read it, I was like,
wait. He's going to drive the car, win the race, get the girl, compete against his arch nemesis who stole his girl, and then and then prove to everyone that he's not over the hill or something. I don't know. It's one of those.
But that was when it was something similar to like Driven, where he's like he's returning out of retirement or whatever, and there's some rookie and this, and I'm like, that was Driven. We tried this and it sucked.
I genuinely can't remember what he does.
Driven
with Sylvester, isn't it?
Yeah, where they drive the Indy cars like down the road.
The Vegas.
They
Vegas
drive them out of the they drive them out of the racetrack and go cruising down the highway in them.
I'm pretty sure Latifi and Stroll did that one night, after the Canadian Grand Prix, and they just headed off home. It was just easier that way. It's not like they had to go to the podium after the race, so they just drove straight home, parked in Dad's garage, and went on with their day.
Yeah, back to their tub and Nutella.
I remember now.
What's happened, Rob?
It was supposed to be Mick Schumacher was supposed to get a drive.
He's had a drive, Rob, and that didn't go very well. And then
no, he was supposed to go in Mercedes.
In FP1.
Oh, didn't someone say that he should do it, and they got into a Twitter fight that Mick should drive it? And
I think so.
Why did he not do it? Are they just waiting for later on in the season because the updates?
Maybe. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. They probably had the main drivers whinging that they need to spend time with the updates.
Here we go. The team will be conducting their first 2-day Pirelli tyre test, so I think he's going to be in that.
Ooh. Him and George.
Yeah.
So Lewis doesn't do this? He
Hamilton.
doesn't bother himself with...
It's too good. Would you?
Well... I think you can only use the main driver for one day.
Also, he's probably too busy with the last room I heard with Shakira.
Is his hips too wide for the seats now?
His hips don't lie.
No lie. I don't know what the words are. I don't ever really listen to the song.
It's sad that I know that too.
The only reason I knew it was Shakira there was because they put her name underneath it.
Yeah.
Half the time they do that, and I'm still like, I've got no idea who this is.
Especially in the Miami one, where they point it out and they're like, "Oh, this is Hugh Bricklayer," and you're like, "Cool." He's like, "He's a rapper from Detroit." No, he's not. No, he's just a random guy.
He's a mumble rapper off
SoundCloud.
That's one SoundCloud. IndyCar was good. IndyCar,
I've decided is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
They don't care about anything. They don't seem to have a governing body or rules. It's just basically, hey Dave, you're in charge of Detroit. What do you want to do? I'm thinking double pit lanes. I've never heard of it, but I'm not here to complain. Chuck, you know what? Don't even tell me how it works. Just do it on the day. I'm sure it's a great idea.
It actually worked really well, though.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Except when one of the drivers forgot when to turn right, and I think accidentally went into a pit because they put it. Didn't they put it like at a corner? And one of the drivers drove through, and then he just kept driving through. And I think,
I think because he didn't get pushed off or something, or it was part of a spin or something.
It looked like he just drove through, and then he's like, "If I keep driving, no one will notice." And then one of the commentators noticed he didn't stop.
Yeah, because his pit box was near the start, and he just kept going.
Yeah, and they're like, he's not stopping, and he's like, "No. I'll just keep driving. Maybe I'll get a bonus for later." He should get pit credits. I reckon if you go through the pit, they should give you like 10 seconds of just of just speeding through it next time, where everyone in the pit
get more push to pass.
Yeah, and you can just blast through.
Then everyone's going to be going through there trying to get a little more push to pass or something.
I reckon it would make it way more exciting.
Yeah.
But that race looked way more interesting than most of the F1 races that have been.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was a bit smaller track. I think I heard that if the cars were all spread out, there was only 2 seconds between each car. If
Yeah,
they're all
how short
perfectly
was that
spread
track? Because it did look very, very, very
out.
short.
9 corners, and they're very, very tiny. But I like how bumpy it was. Like, you'd never see that in F1. Like, all the street tracks in F1 are just like perfectly paved roads. And seeing them bounce around. And
whereas IndyCar, it's like, this track's really bouncy. You got suspension.
Yeah. And I reckon it makes it more exciting to watch. And
and I think they've got a lot, like Dave said, this track's a bit bouncy. Well, we put tarmac over the top of it. Grade 1 IndyCar. This is the best track you will see all year.
Yeah.
and we put up a safety fence. So this is practically the creme de la creme of racetracks. This is your Monaco. So keep quiet.
Yeah. And then I just think it's probably a bit more for the drivers to try and get used to, and a bit more of a challenge than just
it is a little bit deal with it. Shut the fuck up. You're just going you get paid to race a car, enjoy it. But the racing was actually pretty reasonable around there. Like they had to probably get the arms out a little bit more to pass than some of the other circuits. But
Rosenquist pass on his teammate Rossi? That was a bit. They had some good battles, but the last part was a bit.
Passing. A lot of the passing looked very dicey, just because it was. I think from watching too much F1, where F1 like overtakes look, amazing, and like have Dan with his like late braking and whatever. But then in Indy, it's sort of like, this car's worth $40. I can replace it later. It's fine. It's not my car. I don't really have to complain.
I find the problem with F1 is if there's a fast, like if Max is coming through the field, and I've seen it a few times, like Lando will be there, and Lando will just know he's going to be able to pass him anyway, so he'll just let him through. He won't put up a fight whatsoever. Whereas IndyCar, no one lets you through. Even if you're a back marker, no one lets you through. Unless you're 2 laps down. But if you're only 1 lap down, they're not going to let you through.
But I think as well, also, like with the IndyCar, like you saw Herder finishing off the race with half his front wing missing.
Yeah.
Whereas in F1, it's like, I went over a curb and it broke my floor like a tiny little bit, and now the car is not work.
Yeah.
The IndyCar seem a lot more reliable, like in terms of if you clip it onto something, they'll send a radio message. Oh, I'm missing half the wing. All right. Well, when you come in for your pit stop in like 30 laps, we might
bother. Yeah.
But in F1, George hits like a squirrel, and he's like, guys, red flag this race. I need to get in. I need my support pillow and a cup of tea, please. English, Earl Grey, please, while we look at it.
There was I think it was 2021, Laguna Seca. Grosjean was coming through the field, and he was overtaking someone coming into the corkscrew and pretty much hip and shouldered him out of the way. His car was off the ground at one point going into the corkscrew, kept going. My car was fine. In F1, that would have been penalties, and the car would have been wrecked.
Inquiries.
Well, they're a bit as well. They're like, oh, well, that was good for the show.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it was a bit questionable, but the fans enjoyed it, so play on.
Yeah. They're not so quick to give out penalties, and which I kind of like. I like that it's not.
Yeah, it's not over-regulated.
Yeah, but I think because of that, like because of how over-regulated F1 is, it's kind of annoying when someone doesn't actually get a punishment that they probably should have got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or when Yuki gets punished.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Poor Yuki.
Yeah. Have you seen that photo of sad Yuki on the floor?
Yeah. He was doing so well.
And then there's a photo of him standing next to, I've forgotten who it was, but like...
That tall person.
Yeah.
He's like 2.5 times the size of him.
I imagine it's if I stood next to Yuki, it would sort of be that kind of weird...
Yeah.
What Yuki's 5'2", 4.
Yeah.
He's not.
Something like
He's
that.
not
He's
big.
Small.
I think I had a girlfriend like that once.
What, a little tiny Asian man?
Yeah.
And you
Wow.
called her Yuki.
Yeah. Hey, Yuki.
And every time you rang her up and asked her to drive over to your place quicker, did she just yell at you and say, "You trying to fucking kill me? My car can't do any faster."
My brakes! My brakes!
And then abruptly hang up on you.
Did we talk about Connor Daly, or did we
No.
talk about that before the show?
We had a brief discussion beforehand.
Yeah. Big news.
Mutual agreement.
Yeah.
No one's ever mutually told to leave a team, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
I wonder, because I'd heard that he was shopping his sponsorship package around to other teams for next year because the sponsor was unhappy with the results with Carpenters. It would be interesting to see whether Bitnoll's still on the car.
Yeah.
For the remaining races, because that was across the 3 cars at Indy and has been essentially the main sponsor of Renus's car. Now, whether they're putting in money for a full 2-car program or whether it's just purely we're making it look like both cars have sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. And then who ends up in that seat?
Yeah, true. Well, the words I've heard, Linus Lundqvist, who won Indy Next last year, but he's pretty much got nowhere because he's had no funding, even though he was fantastic.
Yeah, which has been very disappointing.
Yeah,
like he didn't even get a ride in the 500.
No,
and there wasn't even really talk of him getting a shot at it.
They're just kind of going, nope, see you later. Like he probably should have got in over quite a few other people, like
Stingray Rob.
Yeah.
Hey. No one's talking smack about old Stingray. As Rob said, Latifi of the indie world.
Yeah. At least we're talking about Stingray. There is Pedersen.
Yeah, Benjamin Pedersen.
Yeah. Apparently, he has been racing IndyCar all year.
Yeah. He's actually got more points than Stingray Rob, though.
Yeah, but where's he been? I don't even recall seeing him on TV, ever.
Dave, can I present to you, can you name the last 3 positions of the Chinese F1 driver in F1? See, no one can. No one knows where he finishes. Ninth? No one knows where he starts, and no one knows where he goes in between.
He finished 8th. Well, Stingray Rob's on 55 points. The next closest underneath him is Takuma Sato with 37 points, who's only raced 2 races
and crashed out of both.
Yeah.
How did he get points for crashing out then?
IndyCar.
Yeah, everyone gets points.
Yeah.
Why hasn't Latifi joined IndyCar already then? He'd be the best at it.
Well, there's still time. There was talk that Latifi was a potential for that the 4th Ganassi seat for this year.
Latifi
the one that Armstrong ended up in.
If Bitnoll take their money elsewhere, Latifi's got some cash.
He's got a lot of cash.
He could definitely afford the Carpenter seat.
Yeah.
Well, he was talking buying one of the Ganassi seats. So he has.
Yeah. It could be good. Could be good.
I mean, couldn't Latifi just buy Ganassi if he even? And he's like, I am the club now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although it didn't work with them buying McLaren.
Look at me. I am the race team now.
Yeah.
What's going on with Arrows McLaren in IndyCar? They seem to be the runner-up constantly. Like,
they're there or thereabouts. I think the problem is that someone's lost his fucking mind and
Pato.
thinks he's going to win the race by doing some real questionable overtake.
Every time he kind of ends up behind, he starts pushing. Like it's almost like he gets too carried away. Like he's too eager to get in front. He just needs to take his time a little bit more.
Even at the 500, though, was it like 8 laps to go?
Yeah, if he sat back a little bit and just picked him off, it would have been better.
That questionable move on Ericsson for the lead.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's just lift out of it a little bit.
That wasn't even
get a
for
run
the lead
on
either.
him. Oh, it was for third at that point, second at that point, wasn't it? Because Newgarden was in front.
Yeah.
But you were just like, okay, there's still 8 laps to go. You're in it. Just lift out of it slightly. Let him go. Get a run on him the next lap or the lap after. You're still in this. You have that questionable. It could have taken both of them out. At the end of the day, that move was taking him out regardless, whether it was the two of them or him by himself.
I reckon it's since Texas, because Texas he was kind of taking his time and like he was behind Joseph. He was waiting to pounce and then yellow flagged and he missed out on winning the points.
But even Texas though, he was like that middle stint or whatever where he nearly lapped everyone.
Yeah.
Because he lapped everyone up to third, I think.
No,
so Newgarden was the only ones. Yeah. There was a lot of risky moves done there where he was miles in front and you knew something will happen. It'll bring the field back together. Everyone will get the wave around. You know, there's no point at that point in the race going that hard.
Yeah,
exactly. So even if you've got to lap everyone twice to then keep your lap lead once you know Stingray Rob hits the wall.
Yeah.
or
Grosjean.
Or Grosjean. I was looking. He's had a couple of crashes. It's either second or a crash.
Yeah. So he's had a really good year. I think it goes DNF, second, DNF, DNF.
Yeah. I was looking at it. So he has DNF'd, Grosjean.
At
1, 2,
least
4 months.
What the hell has happened to Herder?
I don't know. He's just.
Didn't Herder used to be good, Dave? From what I heard from you guys.
Yeah. Herder, he was unbelievable. He came in as a rookie in a nothing, no money team, and won his third race, I think it was.
Yeah.
And now he's trash.
Now he's just.
He should be I thought going into this year that was going to be essentially as a 4-car team. I figured that was going to be essentially a 1-car team with Herder just fucking dominating now that they've lost Rossi. And Grosjean's been outpaced him every round. And Kirkwood's actually won a race and is currently looking better than Herder.
Still behind him in the standings.
Yeah, but visually, Kirkwood's having a better year.
Yes,
he's won a race. He's probably run more at the front. I think Herder's had a couple of medium results.
Yeah,
where Kirkwood has had his flying antics a couple of times.
Stingray's binned it 4 out of 6 times. No, 5 out of.
They're
7.
really in a bad position though this year. The Dale Coyne cars are pretty odd because Malukas is really struggling.
He's going nowhere. He had a 4.
Which I can
Texas, but
that was probably a little bit fluky, I suppose, as well. But I can see them possibly even looking somewhere else.
Yeah.
For next year, especially potentially 2 Ganassi seats open.
Yeah. Armstrong's doing all right for a rookie.
Yeah.
A couple of 8th place finishes and solid. Like his first qualifying time was just demolished everyone. Like he came out, set a lap, and didn't need to set another lap. In the first qualifying.
I think we'll see more of Armstrong.
Well, he's 17th in the standings. He's the highest placed rookie. The next one's Augustine, who's 24th. And Armstrong hasn't done ovals, so he's missed 2 races.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It looks like he's probably going to do the other 2.
Really? Instead of Takuma?
Yeah, well, Taku's deal was only for the 2, apparently. And then he had to find the budget for the other 2.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Which Marcus has already said, if you need a driver for him.
Yeah, I think he's
I'm
keen.
here.
Yeah.
I want to give it a go.
Yeah.
So,
Let's do what the big boys do.
Yeah.
Hell, so that'll be Iowa, and what's the other one? There's another
Gateway.
oval. Gateway? I hate...
Worldwide Technology Raceway.
What? That sounds like a made-up Will Ferrell movie company.
But they got like, you look on their website, it's like Gallagher Grand Prix of where?
Yeah.
Music
And
City,
you're like,
Music City?
that doesn't mean anything to me. Music City's Nashville.
But is it the Bomerato Automotive Group 500? Yes, that'll be it.
That's Iowa, isn't it?
That is...
Oh, no, that's Gateway. Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't even know where they have the name. New Hampshire. No, it's like that one. I don't know. I just don't tell you. Am I blind? Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Have you got the right glasses on?
Probably not. Why do they... Oval St. Louis? St. Louis? I don't know. It's got different corners on each end. So a skinny end and a long big end on the other one. Yeah. That'll be fun.
Technical.
Yeah, very technical. So we got a couple of ovals this year, which is nice. Texas is the 2-day Texas, which is not Texas.
Iowa.
I like that. I think it's silly having 2 days, but also kind of like it.
It does also still keep the round count up a little bit.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Without having to do back-to-backs in Detroit.
Who do you reckon is going to take Road America? Next race. Rossi? I'd like to see Rossi go well. I didn't like Rossi until the 100 Days to Indy and seen him on there. Yeah. And I watched that and I'm like, yeah, you seem actually like a nice guy.
No, he's a bit of an asshole.
Yeah.
listen to his podcast.
All right.
It's funny because you've got Hinch there, who's like they're best mates, but like Hinch is happy-go-lucky kind of guy.
Yeah.
Where Rossi's like hate everyone, like complain about everything.
Yeah. What's his podcast called? Not that we should be saying it on here.
Off track.
Off track. Did you tell me this last week?
Probably.
Yeah, maybe. Off track.
Rob doesn't have time to remember all this stuff. He's got to remember which glasses to put on correctly.
Which seems to struggle with.
Off track with Hinchcliffe?
Yeah. Or off track with Hinch and Rossi.
Do all the Indy drivers seem to have a podcast now?
Yes.
I'm trying to think because there's those two. There's the one with Connor Daly and Joe Molinaro. And then obviously there's Bus Bros.
Yeah.
But that's about it, isn't it?
I think so. Oh, and the side pod.
Yeah, with Ilot and
which they haven't had one for
Armstrong. No, theirs is a bit hit and miss. A bit like Bus Bros.
Yeah.
I was actually a little bit. The last bus brace was a little bit flat.
But the last few I haven't really enjoyed that much. They're been a bit.
I didn't mind the what was it? The motorhomies.
Motorhomies. That was pretty funny.
With Michael was good in it.
Yeah. He did really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screaming Meals podcast. I don't even think there's been any. There's been nothing new on there for a month.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh well. I enjoy watching them because they're new, young. It kind of gives you a different point of view into the whole series.
They also, and that's where I quite like listening to the Connor Daly one, where like he and those guys as well, they're pretty straight down the line with things.
Yeah.
Whereas you can tell because Hinch is at that in his career where he's, got a proper contract and all that kind of stuff where there's stuff that he's not allowed to say and all that. Like he's got a bigger voice and whatever. Whereas like Connor doesn't give a fuck.
No.
Like he just says it as it is. Yeah. And the other guys are at that start of the career where you haven't got all those restrictions.
Well, Connor's stepdad is pretty much the boss at Indy 500.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably can get away with a fair bit.
To an extent. But I think he's like, well, and I think it's probably a little bit with the BitNile sponsorship.
Yeah.
So he's got a bit of freedom there with what he says because they're probably a little bit more like Red Bull.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't mind.
Um,
and on that one, I don't know if anyone from the F1. Dan does a bit of stupid shit on YouTube.
Yeah, Lando has his
Lando's got his driving thing, which he rings Max every so often, and then Max has his crack it.
Yeah, and they have their quadrant thing, which is just like a bunch of YouTubers screaming at the camera for 10 minutes at a time. It's very, very painful to watch.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It is. I can't do it. I try to watch it, and it's just like them screaming, doing something. I'm like, what is he screaming? I live in a pretty average suburb where there's usually lots of people screaming anyway. Yeah, I'm done with IndyCar. Cool. Le Mans this weekend.
Yep.
24 hours of racing.
Yeah. What does it kick off Saturday night?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but usually about 11 or 12, 11 hour time.
I was going to say I don't think it's quite midnight, but
no, I think
it's been
11.
a long time since I tried to watch it.
They usually watch the Sunday, like the last bunch of laps and try and get in. But we could do a watch along this year, 24 hours.
We could.
Could. Yeah.
I'm trying to. I'd actually think the last one I watched was David Brabham's.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Oh no, because I would have watched Mark Webber's.
Yeah. I can't. Like I usually watch bits and pieces each year. Like I'll have it on.
A couple of years back.
Sorry.
Didn't Alonso do it a couple of years back as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem with that was the Toyota were basically the only.
Yeah.
They were the only proper team in the race. So it was a battle between the Toyota guys. Whereas at least, like, say, I remember when Brabham won it and when Mark Webber didn't, those years, like, I think the kind of 3 years, they had probably 3 teams and you had at least a couple of cars from each of the teams that could take it outright. So you might have had like the top cars kind of going off at the start or whatever, then running into problems, and then the second cars were in the mix. So at least like you stayed up for the first couple of hours watching it and fell asleep and got up early in the morning or whatever and watched a bit more. And you're like, shit, this has happened, and go away for a couple of hours and come back and suffered. Whereas it was basically like a Toyota procession on the Alonso years.
I think 2017, I was watching the end of it, and there was a bit where Corvette, it was GTE, Corvette, and Aston Martin still nose to tail after nearly 24 hours, and the Corvette made a mistake, let the Aston Martin go past and win the race. And I'm like, it was like on the last lap or the second last lap or something. I'm like, 24 hours, and it's still coming down to the last lap. And I'm like, it's just bonkers.
How was that one? I think it would have been 16 when the Toyota broke down on the last lap.
Ran out of fuel or something, wasn't it?
No, it's something wrong with the turbo. Something failed on the turbo or something.
Something mechanical.
Yeah.
And they didn't even, because I think it was turbo or something, because they still crossed the line, but there's a minimum time limit to cross the line on the last lap.
Yeah.
So I think it might be like 8 minutes or something. So if the lap takes longer than 8 minutes on the last lap, you don't get classified.
Yeah.
Really?
So they'd run for like 24 hours faultlessly, because it's when the clock. The last lap's announced when the clock goes over the 24 hours, isn't it? It's not 24 hours plus one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they'd cross the line at, say, like 23 hours, 59 minutes, say, and the car breaks down and they crawl around the last lap.
Oh.
So they actually completed the last lap, but they were too slow on the last lap. It's like, nope, you don't get any result at all, where I think they still should have been second because of the lead that they had.
Well, if they finished it, if they'd driven just a little bit slower and it went over the 24 and they still had like, I don't know, 100 meters to go, and then they, okay.
But it's also, I think that's to stop people if they are a bit ahead, that like just stop on the side of the road for a few minutes to let it tick over the 24 hours. And it also stops, because what people would do, like the cars would be absolutely knackered and they'd be like, right, 23 hours, 59 minutes out of the pits, we'll just crawl around that last lap or whatever to be classified as a finisher. Yeah. So they did that, and Toyota had it like all wrapped up, and then boom.
I think it was, what year was it? 2012. 2012 when the Delta Wing was racing and got knocked out by like an LMP1 or LMP2 car that was trying to pass it and took it out of the race. And the guy was on the side of the track trying to fix it for ages. Like his pit crew like hand him tools through the fence or something so he can try and fix it, because he's allowed to fix it and get it going, but he's not allowed to have that stuff.
Yeah, I heard a story recently of like, this was a long time ago, where, because you're not supposed to get outside assistance.
Yeah.
And they realized that the car had done like a fan belt or something like that.
Yeah.
So they went running out into the bush. But what they did, they wrapped a fan belt in like a roll kind of thing. And the mechanics went running out into the bush or whatever and said to the marshals, he's fixing the car or whatever, but he's hungry. Like, can we give him this sandwich kind of thing? And they're like, oh yeah, cool, fair enough, that's not outside assistance or whatever, it's just giving him some food. And of course he's been
never got in trouble for catering, so why should
he's been into the sandwich or whatever, and he's like, I've magically found this fan belt, put it back on there. But what had happened, whatever it was, like the oil pump or whatever that was running off the belt, it actually seized. So as soon as like he started the engine, it just fucking spat the belt straight back off. But
So next year they went in like 2 weeks beforehand and dug some fan belts into the ground.
Isn't that what they do at Bathurst? They dig the hole for the beers.
Booze,
yeah.
Just around the track, there's just spare car parts, so dug into the ground.
Sounds like a racing game bonus, Rob. If you drive over like a certain brick. Turbo upgrade.
That Delta Wing was actually prototype designed for IndyCar.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it now. That's a strange looking car.
Yeah. How different would IndyCar be with those?
Well, it'd probably be dead.
Yeah.
in a way, I'm glad that it didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't go down that path.
No.
Because even if it works, I mean, it looks ridiculous.
Yeah. I'd like to see a racing series with them just because
Yeah.
it's
So
very weird.
It is like a Le Mans kind of thing. It's to me, it's not like what IndyCar or F1 or anything should be heading down. But as a sideshow at Le Mans, brilliant.
Yeah. And then Nissan went from that to their front-wheel drive pig. That went nowhere.
They made some bad decisions, didn't they?
They did.
They did. Interesting.
Yeah. All right. I'm done with what I don't want to talk about. Matt.
Yeah.
Do you have?
Well, I have a couple of questions. Not many this week because I was surprisingly busy at work, which was disappointing.
Oh.
So my first question, Dave.
Yeah.
Do you think Adrian Newey should get paid more than Max?
Who says that he isn't?
Well, I'm just reading things off the internet and comments and stuff. But basically, from what I understand, the rumor is that Max gets paid a lot more than.
He probably does. I think Adrian's outside the cost cap. And also Adrian's been earning big money for over 20 years now.
Yeah.
I know, but I just feel that you would probably pay him whatever you want. Because let's be honest, he's probably 70% of the reason your team dominates.
I think probably within Formula One, other than probably got Max, Lewis, Charles, Adrian's would be fourth, I reckon.
But he would have to be probably the smartest man in the back office in terms of back office. If you had to do like a fantasy F1 team, you'd pick him first, then you'd pick a team principal, and then you'd pick drivers. Because if you had Newey, you'd sort of be under the impression he could make anyone look, quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also the team that he builds around him as well. Because I think that's the strength with Red Bull at the moment is even with the poaching that's going on, like they've got internally, they've been training people
again,
up.
That's all Adrian's doing, though, isn't it? It's not someone.
Yeah.
No one's gone, hey, Newey, I need you to hire my son. His name is Matt. He's he wears a hat backwards and stuff. He would go out and he would do the final hiring process type thing. Like if you had someone apply, you'd imagine that he would have say on it, kind of thing.
I think if it was probably promotions and if it was high level hires, because
you've 30 or 40 in and 2 of them survive, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, you've got. I mean, you're talking teams of like 1,000 people now, so it's not like. Like even I know in my workplace, like you've got idiots like me doing interviews and stuff, because essentially the person at the top of the tree hasn't got time to interview every.
Oh, I don't think he'd have final saying like senior roles. You're probably right, more promotions.
Yeah, and that's like internal promotions and senior roles. Yeah, he would. He'd get
because they probably have like a graduate program, I imagine, where they just get in.
Yeah,
a whole bunch of,
Yeah, and they probably would take like 30 or something every year of graduates, and with the idea that 2 of them are going to end up being full-time employees in 12 months' time or something.
Well, they'll take 4, and then 2 of them will get poached by Austin Martin, and then 2 of them you have to keep for yourself.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people joke that who would be the first driver that you'd employ if money was no object, and it's Adrian Newey.
Yeah,
Latifi.
Yeah. But you've also got to say the drivers. The careers are extended now, but they're probably earning that kind of money for 5, 6, 7 years, kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Whereas,
he'll earn that money till he's 80 or 90 years old, because he'll also, and then I think I'd imagine once he stops day-to-day stuff, you'd still have him being just the guy that roams the office, and he'd probably just walk around, look at a car, and go, "I'd fix that side AirPod," and they'd be like, "What does he know?" And they'd be like, "Shut up, 18-year-old kid, just
fix
finished
it.
university. You know nothing."
But I think also, especially now with him being outside of the cost cap, that I think it would probably be pretty surprising what he's being paid.
Yeah.
A year.
Well, I've seen things being paid $10 million a year.
I would say that is probably possibly even a low estimate.
Yeah.
I think what he'd be getting at the moment would be basically an unpoachable sum.
Yeah, you'd basically go, how much money do you want so you never leave us? Because I want because Dave, can you put a price on holding the Constructors' Championship past Toto's office every year, and then with your T-shirt that just says "Change your fucking car," because that's worth millions of dollars.
And I also suspect that even he will do a semi-retirement thing probably in a few years' time, and he will still be probably part of Red Bull's top three outside the cost cap.
Yeah. He'll be like a Red Bull fellow or something. They'll give him like a wacky title, and like I said, he'll just walk around, and then he'll speak to graduates at like their welcome to the Red Bull company.
Yep.
He is the man. He's the man. The reason why everyone hates us right now, and we have 57 of these Constructors' Championships in the background. I think when they had Dan come back and he looked at the trophies, he was like, "Well, a lot more than there were last time I was here." I feel like someone's had to go to IKEA a lot and buy a lot more shelves. They've just gone, "Oh, just chuck these here for now. We'll figure it out later."
We need to build a bigger room.
Yeah. I do like their Red Bull room where they had all the cars. And then Dan was in one, because there's one where even Webber had a look at his car and explained that he snapped half of it off, so it's not the real car anyway. Webber doesn't seem to do a lot of Red Bull stuff. He's more interested in Porsche, isn't he?
He's Porsche.
Yeah.
Porsche driver.
Yeah, he's a driver for Porsche, isn't he, or something?
Yeah. He was still a Red Bull ambassador or whatever. But I'd say also that's probably been getting slimmer and slimmer. And now with Dietrich gone, that's probably even less if there is still a attachment there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think Webber was the only one that directly did the contracts with Dietrich. Whereas all the others went through like Horner or Helmut Marko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got Porsche test cars. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I think he doesn't kind of care.
No.
Kind of thing. Like he's got more money than he ever imagined or whatever. He's just like, yep, this is sweet.
He's managing Oscar now, so he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of that sweet Oscar money.
Yeah. Paying off Alpine.
Yeah.
So my next question, Dave. If F1 could copy any one thing from IndyCar, what would it be?
Where do we
now,
start?
mind you, the correct answer is obviously double F pit stops. But also, I want them on I want different sides for each week, and I want you to, and they have to be told on the day. So you don't. So basically, you turn up, and it'll be like, Lewis, you're top right. Max, you're, whatever. None of this getting into it.
There is a lot of things that IndyCar does right. Now, there's probably a few things that need to be improved.
Push the pass is good.
Yeah, and even like I've been saying this for a long time, but I think Martin brought it up in the telecast with the DRS because it just used DRS every fucking lap. Like I like how push to pass you get 120 seconds of it a race. Yeah. Whereas I would like to see, say, the DRS, you get, say, 10 pushes of it a race, and you can use it how you see fit.
Yeah.
So if you want to use it as a defensive tool,
he just keep pushing it and say the button doesn't work, and then
you'd run out of it after like 2 laps. And
we just need you to push it once, Max. No, it doesn't work.
Well, that was like apparently Grosjean just held the button for like 2 laps flat out and ran out really quickly at Barber. And then he's like, what happened to my push to pass? And they're like, well, if you hold the button flat for like 2 laps, you chew through it really quickly, buddy. Whether that's what actually happened, because there's a bit of tinfoil hat out there. But I think... I'd probably look at something like that, the DRS being more a limited thing, that you had a bit more freedom on how you wanted to use it. And if you wanted to use it down like the back straight or something, go for it. But you get, say, 10 or 20 or whatever, you get that amount of pushes per race. And once you've used them up, you're done.
Yeah. I think that's good.
And final question, Dave. What would you do to stop years and years of the same people winning every year? So Max right now, Lewis, for 6-7 years.
The hard thing is that because you can't do you can't just spend your way out of a problem. Like you see, say, like in the 2000s, even when Ferrari dominated for 4 years, it was really, they only dominated 2 of those years. Like the other years, they had competition. And then like Seb's 4 championships in a row, 2 of the years were really close championships because the other teams could go and test and spend more money and whatever to catch up. Whereas the way the rules are now, like Mercedes had that locked-in engine advantage forever. And now kind of with the way that the rule, it will converge at some point now with the wind tunnel restrictions and that. Because Red Bull gets less, etc., that should level the field out. And because they're all spending the same amount, and if we have a stable rule set, it should level it out. But we've got new rules coming in 2026, which then all of a sudden it's going to reset everything. But you usually find towards the end of a rule set, that's when it's at its closest.
Yeah.
So probably next year next year and 2025?
Well, it will take, and you will have some catching up, possibly, by then.
Is that when Lance becomes world champion, 2024?
Yeah, 2026, new engines.
Honda assuming Honda gets it right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one way or the other.
Do you reckon they'll get it right just to spite Red Bull?
Yes.
Yeah, well, at least they know what they're doing and they're more prepared. See, part of the problem when they came back in with McLaren was that they wanted to come in 2015, I think it was, and McLaren made them come in 2014, which was 12 months earlier than what they were kind of planning on. And then also McLaren were like, okay, you get this amount for an engine. And they said, we need this much room. And they went, you get this much room for an engine. They said, but the engine's this big. They went, no, you just fit it in that and don't ask any questions kind of thing.
Also, didn't they? They were very secretive about what everything else. It's like, where's this engine going? They're like, it goes in the engine bay. What's this connect to? Never mind, we'll connect it up. Whereas Red Bull, I think, are more open and like, here's our car,
And
you ask questions, we'll pretty much tell you how it all works up.
Yeah, and I think they were a bit more like, how do you want us to mount the radiators? And they went, well, if you mount them this way, that'd work better for us. Cool, we'll work around that or whatever. Or how about whereas McLaren was a bit like, no, we're doing it like this. Your engine's going to overheat. That's your problem. So I'd say they've probably learned a lot of lessons from that. So the Aston relationship will be more hit the ground running because they'll, be working on that integration.
Was that when what's his name? Zach was still in charge? Was he in charge?
No, so this was when Ron Dennis was still around and Whitmarsh was kind of, so there was all those struggles as well because Ron Dennis had stepped down because of the whole cheating thing, but was still kind of pulling the strings from remotely or whatever, and Martin Whitmarsh was supposed to be in control, but I don't think he was fully. And then that was when Ron Dennis was taking control of the team again. So it was a bit of a fucking shambles behind the scenes as well.
Now, are we doing guessing for is it next week? Is it
next week
we've got a weekend off.
Yeah.
So it's only Le Mans this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Only.
And then the weekend after we've got all three categories.
Yes.
Canadian, and
Road America and Darwin.
So the America's hat, Australia's hat, and then Indy. In Darwin is the
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
something, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right.
I think
It's dinner time.
Enjoy your Uber Eats.
I will.
Have they been sitting out the front of the house, Rob, just getting cold?
Yeah. I just ordered ice cream.
Perfect. It's already cold.
Yeah.
It's now colder than when it left the shop.
Yes.
Well,
all right.
On that note, we'll see you all next week.